Everyone, Lisa here. Welcome to the Crypto Weekly Update. We've got a big show with Bitcoin, Ethereum and the triple halvening, 15 alts in 15 minutes, and of course our trade of the week. Let's get started. So welcome back everyone, and let's see if I can remember to record this show and get it to you on time. So we've got Bitcoin here, and obviously we've been having these crazy drops. So these are coincided with Elon Musk tweeting that he is, rebuilding on Dodge, and, Tesla's not buying any more Bitcoin, but they're not selling it either. So this is the issue. So is Bitcoin safe? Is Elon Musk going to stop trolling us? So, on Twitter, I've written a big letter to him because, I have been in the industry for 11 years. And the people and the space is very important to me. So I'd like to see it continue to grow, not just in price, but the projects as a whole, I would love to see continue to grow. And, that development sort of spread into, normal ecosystem and normal businesses and so on. So, so it's very important to me that Bitcoin stays where it is and stays alive. So let's have a look. So this is our chart. This is our 4-hour chart. And we've rejected on these MAs. We're currently held down by the EMAs, which is not a really good sign, but we are bouncing on this channel here. We do have a cross support in this region, which is around the sort of 40,000 mark on BTC. So there is potentially still a case for that to drop down to this region. And but I do think we are seeing a bounce here. If we drop down to a 15-minute chart, we can see that we've got this small bounce here, and we're coming up to retest these MAs. So we should see sort of 46 to 40, sort of 7.5 in this range before we get above this, and then we should see around the 54 mark. So before we get another pullback. So we have enough volume entering the market at this point in time to get that. So these regions are, highly sort of, I wouldn't say manipulated, but like they are highly sort of guarded by exchanges, as they know that this is a bullish pivot. And, if we're looking at this on a larger time frame, this pattern is very, very important for us to continue higher. So it's still looking very red, but on this 12-hour chart, we do have quite a large wick on this candle. So we're above our, which was a support zone, a technical support zone on Elliott Wave in this 44,888 region. Our bullish pivot is around the 41K to sort of the 40,700 mark. So we really want to hold that region. If we do break down again, I don't think it's going to be lower than that sort of 39.5, 40,000 mark. So, at this current level, we have the MAs above us. So we do need to go up and retest for strength at some point. So, on this chart, we're sort of looking at the 53, 54 range. And if we can get up to that point, we should see a cross on those MAs. Looking down at our daily chart, we have, these are still very turned down, but we do have a nice strong bounce in this region. And our, RSI is very, very low. So like in a bull market, which we're still in, we haven't crossed over into a bear market as yet. So, like in a bull market, we can stay in the RSI in an oversold, overbought region for quite some time. like on a daily chart. So we sort of hung around those periods for sort of maybe a month at a time. So in this region, we can stay down quite low in this RSI, which will allow the alt some breathing space and a bit of bouncing room, and then a continuation up. So we should see quite a bit of sideways, I would think, over the next week, with an explosive candle to the 58, sort of $59,000 mark. And then, you know, the 54 is a strong resistance at this point. So 54 is this channel. So if we can bust through that with a strong candle to 59 sort of region, we are home and hosed, and we will come back down and retest this area. So that completes, that would mean that our correction in this region is complete. I don't think it's quite there yet. So ideally, we want this to be an ABC, and this ABC then to be completed. And then, you know, we're continuing up at this point. So if this is an ABCDE pattern, it will continue to have one more wave lower. So A, B, C, D, E. So that's kind of the pattern we're looking at for an ABCDE, with a lower wave down. This wave can truncate and can hold up above this sort of this line around this region, which is around the 42K mark. At some point, we possibly should retest this bullish pivot. In previous cycles, sort of in our 8K to 10K cycle, we retested that region. In our 28 to 31K cycle, we also retested the bullish pivot. So we haven't done that yet. So there is still that possibility that we do head up here to around the 54K mark before coming back down with, you know, some news or some sort of random thing in the market that will break this market down. So, you know, ideally, I think we're going to move quite strongly in this region over the next couple of days as news circulates that Elon Musk has not sold Bitcoin. They're not sort of accepting it for car payments, but they've not sold any. So that's a good sign as well. And then we do have the Tether case coming up this week. So, you know, if we can see that candle to the 58K range or 54K range, sorry, and then we possibly might get that drop again with some Tether FUD. So, you know, that's the kind of pattern play out at the moment. So if we can break through the 54K mark, we have a target of 61K. If we cannot break through that range, we will drop down and retest these lower regions. So ideally, it would be nice to get that breakout to that region. So, and that would possibly form an inverted head and shoulders. That would be a nice pattern to see in this region. So it would look a little bit like this. And then possibly a shallow sort of right shoulder, just retesting this previous resistance as support, and then a break up higher. So that's the ideal pattern that we're looking for here. But this key resistance is at this $54,000 to $55,000 mark. And then we know which direction we're going from there. So that we might hover around in this sort of this region here for a little bit, maybe a day or so as we continue sideways. But overall, Bitcoin's looking fairly strong. So it's not as ugly as it looks. It looked really ugly this morning, but we've held key areas. So I'm quite happy with how it's going. And, you know, as long as these areas continue to hold and we don't get any major sell-offs, I think we should be fine. Looking at exchange sort of Bitcoin data and everything, we are quite low on Bitcoin exchanges. Having Bitcoin on the exchanges, a lot of the time it's getting moved quite quickly off, and there's a lot of OTC deals still going in. So there's still high demand for Bitcoin. So we have a low supply of Bitcoin right now, which hopefully should increase the demand and the price. So the supply and demand model. So over the next sort of week, I do think we sort of move higher with BTC. So yeah, so let's jump straight into Ethereum. So Ethereum's had a really strong bounce. So we've come down and we've almost retested this 200 MA on the 4-hour chart here. So we are currently retesting the 400 MA on the 2-hour chart here. So, you know, we're rejecting a little bit. So it'd be ideal to see this sort of play out a little bit sideways in this region before continuing up and retesting this resistance and the 100 MA at this point. So the 100 MA is 3,900-ish. And then a continuation. So, and then we know sort of which direction we're moving in at that point. So now Ethereum has a triple halvening. So if we know anything about what happened with the Bitcoin halvening, we had that explosive wave sort of takeoff and price action towards that point in time. So Ethereum should see that when we've got the 3 halvenings. So the first one's scheduled for July and subsequent ones after that. So once we sort of get closer to that, so we're in May now, so as June progresses, Ethereum should really take off. So what I've told my Getting Started in Crypto.com group is to buy the dip. So at the moment we are DCAing every single dip on Ethereum. So we're not in a margin trade as yet, except for, you know, potential scalp trades. But what we are doing is we are DCAing the dips. And, you know, when it's safe to do so, we will open a margin trade and, you know, for that long-term sort of movement. But so, yeah, so as we get closer to the halvenings on Ethereum, the price should explode and continue higher. So it's still looking really good. So this is not a major issue with this sell-off in this region. While we have broken down here, it's not a major disaster. It's formed a channel and had a strong bounce in this region. So I don't see any sort of short-term issues with Ethereum. We might have some long-term issues if we can't break these upper resistances. But right at this point in time, we've got this strong bounce. So yeah, let's get into the 15 alts in 15 minutes. Hey everyone, now let's get straight into it. We've got the 15 charts in 15 minutes, and our first one is Ava Travala. So this has been sideways forever and super frustrating. So for many that have been trading it. So today we've just had this mega breakdown, obviously with BT having a hissy fit and breaking down, and all the alts have broken down with it. We've come down on the RSI and we've really bottomed out on this one. So when we get to these bottoms, we do have quite a big sort of movement coming up on Ava. So it's looking really strong. So we're holding this long-term support. There's no reason why this is going to break. It's held for such a long time. So if we do break it, there's something completely wrong, and there's not, because this is a super strong project with lots of development and stuff happening within the project. So one of my favorites, as you guys would know if you've followed me for quite some time, and you know, we are now above our all-time high and continuing up. So anywhere down to this, if we do get another pullback with BTC, I think Ava Travala is going to maybe pull back to around the 4 mark and then continuation higher. But it's looking really strong. So we did have that sideways forever. We seem to have finished this pattern right now, and you know, hopefully we take off really soon, especially with, you know, people starting to be able to travel in Europe and those sort of places. So Europe opens up on the 17th of May, which is today. So they are allowed to travel into country. So, you know, country permitting. So you can't come to Australia because we won't let you in. So, but yeah, so travel opening up today for a few countries and it's looking really good. So Ava should start moving in pattern, and they've still got some really big news to come. So that should push the price higher. We haven't seen that news as yet. So our number 2 chart is Cardano. So we've had some quite strong moves in this pattern. So we do have a channel on Cardano, which we've been moving quite strongly to. And we do have a couple of breakdowns in that region, but the overall channel pattern has been quite strong. We did retest above this region and had a little bit of a breakdown and a breakout, but overall the pattern on ADA is looking really strong. We should retest the top of this channel in the not too distant future before we attempt these higher highs. So ADA is always in my bags. It's one of my staples. So get on board. You know, this should fill out in this region here and then continue up. A lot of, you can stake your ADA as well. So there's lots of different places that you can look into doing that. So chart 3, we have Chili's. Now we have this massively big sideways triangle that has formed on Chili's. Now the rule of a triangle is usually if it enters into a triangle, it'll leave up. So if it enters up, it leaves up, sort of 90% of the time. That's how these patterns work. So we've had quite a sort of extended correction on Chili's, but we did have a huge move. So we saw recently on Telcoin that we had that quite extended correction, and then we had a 200% rise again on that. So I expect that to happen in CHZ again, and then a continuation up. So our chart number 4 is eGold. For those that have watched me for a long time, you'll know this is one of my favorites. So I stake this, I also trade this, and you know, we've come down again on this chart to a support. It's looking really strong. It's had quite a good bounce in this region. So if we have a look at, you know, supports are always a good region to place some orders in case it does bounce down. So we've had a nice 10% bounce after that BTC drop. We could sort of fill out this area a little bit sideways for a bit before heading higher, but eGold is one that I will be scooping up at these values. So $150 is a bargain on eGold. So I've gone shopping. Number 5, we have Pundis. So this one has, like eGold did after they did the redenomination. So Pundix has really sort of struggled. It's gone very sideways. We have strong consolidation though in this channel, and we are holding. So we've done a couple of retests on the channel bottom and holding. So we're only just starting to get our MAs sort of coming in because this is a very new chart. So we do have that upper resistance of the MAs, which is also the channel resistance. I do see that breaking as sort of development and news sort of happens on Pundix. So we are currently hitting the MAs on this 30-minute chart. And if we drop a little bit lower, hopefully we can have a look, and we are starting to sort of, you know, test those regions. Our visual range, visual profile, which is this indicator on the side here, also shows that we have upper resistance around the MA region. So this is going to prove to be a little bit difficult, not impossible to break, but if we can break that, this is going to absolutely explode. So it's only a matter of time until it actually does. So I should just check. I am actually recording. I just wanted to check that we were actually doing that. So what have we got? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our 6th chart of the week is Sol BTC. So the reason I'm looking at this chart, so this is Phantasma. So it looks phantasmic. So I've had this on the chart on the show previously when I was on hard forking. and it was one that I was actively trading. So now with Bitcoin in correction and going a little bit sideways, we should see some of these BTC pairs start to bounce. So we have a nice cup pattern. We've almost completed this, if not having completed this handle, and we should start heading up higher. So you know, the way a cup and handle works. So we've got our top, the top of our cup. So we measure down into our cup as to the depth of the cup, and that gives us the target. So we do have this actually matches up with my upper targets on my fib levels. So this is a strong buy for me in these regions. And I do think we're going to be heading up higher with this in the not too distant future. So Sol Phantasma. So this is on KuCoin. Our next chart is Ample. So I've had this on the show quite a few times. This is one of my favorite charts. I've mastered the pattern on Ample Fourth. So if we have a look, when we hit this RSI, I like to add a star to it because it means we're going to start correcting. So we've hit that region, which coincides with this. We didn't quite get to our target 2, and we've come back down and we've retested on this this diagonal support on the RSI. So which is coincided with this long-term support that we've got in this region on Ample Fourth. So we should hold in this region before heading up. So again, this is a strong buy for me, and we should see this movement. So our RSI has bottomed, our MACD is just starting to curl up, and then we should take off. So this is a really good chart to you know, sort of practice the RSI and, you know, support and resistance and where to sell, especially when these RSIs are constant in this region. And, you know, it's proven that once we get to these certain points on this RSI on this chart, it does correct. So it's a quite a good trade. So that was number 7. So our number 8 is OMG, Omisigo. So currently known as the OMG network. So we've had a strong bounce on this, and it's looking super, super good. I have a buy in this region. The reason I am buying in this region, so if we zoom out to a 12-hour chart, we can see that we've been trading this for quite some time. And our wave 1 high is this red line. And currently we are supported by the MA in this region, and we are bouncing quite strongly. And it is holding above that wave 1 sort of overlap. So our wave 1 overlap. So if we can hold this region, it holds that pattern, and I have a massive target of $20 on this one. So this is a really strong buy for me at this point. So it's $8. We're going to do more than 100% on this coin, and as it continues up. So we might see a little bit sideways in the market for, you know, a week or two. So don't stress too much about that. This is a really choppy chart to trade as well. So it's one that you need to sort of not overly margin and just sit back and relax. So we have our next chart is hard. We all know that we like to get hard in the, not hard in the market, but hard. Anyway, so this one, we're coming down to the support level. We should bounce again on this support level. So this price is around the $1 mark and then take off. So our resistance, we do have a resistance at about $1.48, $1.50. If we can break through that, we might see a sort of a drop to this cross support region before heading higher. Our number 10 chart is 1. So this is Harmony 1. Now this pattern's looking really strong. So our correction has come back down and retested this previous breakout, which is always a really good sign of strength. We've headed up. So we may come back down, just have another touch of that support on that sort of previous breakout before we head higher. So our RSI is still in our neutral zone. We've rejected from that top. which we've done in this region. So that to me says we're going to get a little bit more sideways action here before we do take off. But it's a good trade to, be in over the next little bit, sort of ladder buy into this region, and it'll take off very soon. So our number 11 chart is Dent, which we have a strong support, which we are coming back and retesting and bouncing. So we've had quite a few back tests on this support over the last little bit, and it's looking really strong. So Dent is one that I think is going to start moving. I think we've completed this correction, and while we might get some sideways here to fill out that sort of triangular bit we've got in this region, we're going to start moving quite well in this one. So our MACD is starting to swoop up, and our RSI is still really neutral. So this is a 4-hour chart. We've got plenty of room to move, providing Bitcoin doesn't ruin the show. Number 12, we've got News Crypto, sorry. NWC is the ticker. This is also on KuCoin. So this one has completed this correction after the massive rise that we've seen. It's filling out nicely in this descending wedge. Now, descending wedge should break higher and explode out. It's looking really, really good. So one that I'm really happy with. So I'm going to be adding to my bags in this region and heading back higher. So yeah, so it always has fantastic news, fantastic partnerships, and strong moves in this coin. So that was our number 12 coin. Our number 13 coin is one that we had on in the previous week. So it is called Buy. So we did have a buy in this region. On the show, I think we bought down here. In the group, we bought up here. So let me just take those off for the moment. So we have got a strong sort of pattern happening here. We did break down under there, but we've come back above the support level, and we're currently having some really strong bounces on that region. So this cup has formed, and it's really sort of a beautiful pattern here. We've got this cup, we've got the handle. The handle's almost complete. So this is the reason we've got this trade back. So we've got upper targets here, which sort of match our Fibonacci levels. So we're looking for 31.94 cents, and then a continuation higher. So on this current pattern, we currently have 100% move in this region. So buy is one that is a strong buy for me. So number 14, we have Elon's doggy coin. So it's not actually Elon's, it's his best friend's, but that's okay. So right now we are holding, we've bounced 4 times off this support. We're currently above the MAs on the 1 hour, which is a really strong sign. Our EMAs have crossed. So the EMAs have crossed bullish at the moment. So we're just going to fill out this region while Bitcoin's a little bit choppy. Our MACD is really neutral, and our RSI is also really neutral. So this is looking really cool to continue higher. So, it's a meme coin. It doesn't really do much. So, but it doesn't make money. So we're going to trade it. Yeah, so it's looking quite good. So I've got a $1 target on doggy coin, because I do think we're going to push to that $1 at some point in the not too distant future. So our number 15 chart is another one that I've had on the show before. So this is RVP, Revolution Popular. Now, it has had a massive 10,000% move, and we've seen this corrective structure. Now, the reason I brought it back is because we're starting to get the alt curl happening on this chart. So it's curling quite nicely with this parabola. So our MACD is starting to smooth out. We don't have much details or data on the RSI as yet, but it's still very, very low. So we've got lots of room to move. Now, this is an amazing project. So this, I'm going to be buying back in here as a long-term hold. I have been trading this, and I did get on the IDO for this one. So I highly recommend this as a long-term hold. Obviously do your own research and find out what it does, but it's an amazing project. So, and it's got an amazing team backing it, which is more importantly, and strong marketing. So that was our number 15 call. So hey, and that brings us to the trade of the week. So this week, I've got one of my favorites. So let me share my screen again. Now this is Kusama. So we've got the parachain auctions coming. So they are set and they are happening. It's official. So what is going on? So this is the Cointelegraph article on which I'll put in the comments just down below. So the parachains are on the verge of launching. So the upgrade passed the council, and it's super exciting because the parachains, you know, they get sold off and Kusama just goes absolutely crazy. So Kusama was the testnet for the Polkadot project. It is now Wild Dot, and it is its own chain. It is staying that way. They are keeping it. It is absolutely awesome project. So make sure you hold some of this in your bags. This is a long-term hodl, so you should be DCAing this all the way every time it drops. So this is a $5,000 plus coin. I know you hear that all the time, but this is seriously the most epic project that we have in the crypto sphere right at this point of time, for me anyway. So, and one of my long-term holds. So any dip we see, you should be buying up everything, especially with the parachains happening. So so if we go to the Kusama site, which I'll also put a link below. So the auctions are underway. So this is super exciting. Yeah, so make sure you get some Kusama in your bags. Over the next week, we're going to see this absolutely explode. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see $1,000 before the end of June on Kusama. So that's 100% rise in this chart. It's going to be a little bit choppy with the parachain auctions, but it's a long-term, it's an amazing project. So yeah, that has been the weekly crypto wrap up, and this was my chart of the week. So again, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to smash the like button. I'll be back during the week. I've got DeFi City. We're coming in. We're going to talk about their project, about their staking, about their farming. And we've got Alex from Privaneum coming in to talk to me as well. So I'll get those two up during the week. And if there's anyone that you'd like to see on the show or me talking to, please let me know in the comments and we'll see if we can get them on. And don't forget to smash the like button, guys. Smash it. And I'll catch you next week on the Crypto Weekly Update. Thanks for watching. Later.